in, alive, like Matthew McConaughey would say. Yes, live in, Livin. Maybe that botched my YouTube algorithm. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe we'll do some handstand push ups for the algorithm. Let's go. That's maybe the move. Handstand push ups for the algorithm. Welcome back, friends. Gonna do some handstand push ups for the algorithm. I don't know if this will work, but you know, we kind of just severed our algorithmic flow to, you know, re enter monetization mode. So maybe this will be the move. I don't know. With that, let's do this. Wah. That was a good one. That was a beautiful one. Look at this tree, though. Look at this tree, though. Look at this tree, though. Oh, wait, what's good? Looks like we even got even more algorithmic push. It's the handstand push-ups, right? Las Vegas. Nice. Whoa. Whoa. Branch fell in the woods. All right. I think that's enough handstand push-ups for the algorithm. It's funny, when I was new, like literally like a week in, that's what I would do all the time. I was like, you know what? The algorithm just wants me to do handstand push-ups with guitars, you know. To be like, that's gonna awaken the algorithm, and maybe it works, I don't know. Maybe it works. Those are not easy. They're not. At least at first. Eventually they become very easy. Eventually they become like flowing water. You do them and it flows. Or whatever. No, but yeah, it's like you do them and your body gets strong and can do them pretty easily. But initially they're very challenging. It takes, you know, lots of conditioning and training and balance training. But once you get them, once you get the handstand push-ups down, then you're in a very incredible place. Like that's what I kind of like to advocate is like once you unlock the handstand push-up progression, then you suddenly have the ability to, as you know, Chris Heria says, you overload your entire body weight anywhere you are. You can overload your entire body weight anywhere you are, which is awesome. You can literally just be like, it's basically like you have a bench press anywhere you go and you're doing your entire body weight anywhere you go. You don't need equipment. Anywhere you are, bam, just overload. And that's powerful. Not to mention, of course, the yogic, you know, benefit of like doing a yogic pose that is handstands and then concentrating it and holding it. Also good for your spine, for your lymphatic system, for your adrenals, for your brain chemicals. Like it's all like it's just a powerful combination of a lot occurs when you just slip into a handstand push-up. It also feels cool. It's like a flip of your reality. You know, you get to change your reality by circulating blood flow, circulating neurochemicals, circulating adrenaline, you know, getting spinal alignment, all in just one swift exercise. And you can do it anywhere you are, anytime you want. Life-changing stuff, truthfully. Many reasons to do the handstands and handstand push-ups. And the more you do them too, the easier they get. Like really, it's like the more you do them, the easier they are in every ride. No idea how to perform that, not a cover artist. Yes. Can you play flute while handstanding? No. I can do flips and tricks with the flute because it doesn't require my hands. But yeah, that seems kind of pointless. Trying to do a handstand with a flute. I can do like one-handed, like aerial kind of cartwheels or cartwheel kicks or any trick, but that requires one hand. But handstands, you can't really do that. And one-handed handstands are probably one of the most technically difficult tricks anyone can do, and they require insane amounts of precision and strength, which takes years and years and years to develop. But I'm sure it's possible. People do it. Yo, what's good? What's good? Yeah. I'm sure I'm sure you'd agree tenfold. Genius, if you were here a moment ago, I'm just talking about the benefits of handstand benefits of handstands, handstand push-ups. Just kind of randomly. Just the simplest right. It's like Chris Heria says, he's like the YouTuber that I look up to that I learned handstands and handstand push-ups from, quite immediately. It's like he just says it's like you have the ability to overload your entire body weight anywhere you go. Handstand push-up. Super dope, diverse thing. Yeah, what is good? By the way, to Genius, I know if you're still here listening. I've been wanting to like my schedule. I've been kind of rearranging my time and kind of like, gauging my parallels with trying to do YouTube this and that, invest my time and energy. But I would love to try to experiment, like we've been talking about, do some sort of experimental collaborative stream. Like the key is, I'm trying to like navigate experimental waters, but I think you'd be obviously like we've discussed. It'd be interesting to just, yeah, I guess if we find a day and literally be like if you want to do like a call or something or talk more prior about what we want to talk about just briefly, but I would love to just like experiment with like, okay, Flip, you want a duo stream and then just see how that goes. I don't know. It could go well. I'm sure it'll go great, but it's like I'm curious to see the nature of cuz like I'm open to that. But I'm also like, pretty I've had a lot of revelations this last week about, you know, how I want to carry about doing YouTube stuff. And the mass majority of what I've realized is like part of how I want to operate this channel is, just focusing heavily on the music itself. Like I love talking and engaging, and I think there'll be streams for that. But I think the mass majority of my streams, I'm basically just going to try to focus all my attention on playing music for the viewers. Like truly, like not even, dispersing my energy into talking to the chat too much. Like, I'll engage and say hello, but not trying to focus too much and purposely and intentionally focus it on creating music, because that's just like it seems to be a much more comprehensive thing. And of course it's the origination of how this channel really birthed. But yeah, I think that'd be a great experiment, just to have ourselves a conversation relating to whatever we want to riff about. We can talk about, as we were talking about like the dimensions of like time and metaphysics, or the metaphysics related to time, or talk about our fitness journeys or what we're noticing in relation to dopamine. I think all those things would be fun to talk about. We'll just see how it goes, see how the viewers, I'm sure they'll love it. I mentioned again, congrats. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I skimmed over that. Thank you so much, Moonstars. It's almost funny. I swear, low-key part of me almost like is desensitized to the benchmark of being fully monetized, because it's been like grinded. I've been grinding and like anticipating it for so long. Even when like my mom, like my family would be like, "Wow, congratulations!" I'm like, "Oh yeah, thanks, cool." It's like, and I'll appreciate it, but it's a beautiful thing that I appreciate. But I've been like, relishing and embellishing this transition point for so long that I'm like a little bit desensitized, or I'm like, I mean, in a sense where I'm like, I'm so focused now. What is the next dimension of how I can, all right, officially monetize, beautiful, check mark. But now it's like, I feel like there's so many other now new parallels. I'm like, okay, how can I focus my attention, energy into really now fully harnessing the monetization in a way that's, that's not inorganic. And the simplest right, I think I just want to do high quality streams, focusing on creating really high quality music, unlock long format YouTube, unlock higher viewerships or viewers on my live streams as they are, and then let the monetization really flow, more so, or the monetary ads stuff. But deeply appreciate that. It's a exciting time to be alive. It's an exciting time to be alive. I remember, oh, I forgot yesterday for whatever reason. This is random as fuck, but I was playing, in the forest as I am right now, and at some point, for some reason, a tiny pine cone, it fell from a tree, and I wasn't even around trees, truthfully, but it's just like a tiny pine cone. It fell and struck my string, and made it ring out, which I found bizarre. I was like, what is the actual odds? Especially because I'm playing guitar on this weird angle, in a random sort of location. What are the odds? And there wasn't a lot of pine cones falling in this forest, but it was just like this tiny pine cone. It's falling in the perfect place, perfect trajectory, and the perfect angle, just to hit my guitar string. Literally just strike the string as I was playing. I'm playing a bunch of stuff, and then a random moment just pop and hits the string. So that was weird. I was like, whoa, what are the actual odds of that happening? Yeah, you should have kept it. Yeah. Oh, kept the pine cone. Honestly, I didn't even know where it went because there's billions of pine cones everywhere. But all I know is that, yeah, I have the clip. Yeah. I have the clip, so I think I'm going to go through it and see if I can capture the exact moment when it happened and just use it as a clip. Because, I don't know, that just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen every day. What are the actual odds? Again, just a pine cone falling from the sky that hits my guitar string. It's like the universe is, or the forest is trying to create music with me. It's very, very cheeky. Wow. Oh. Ah. Okay. Oof, that's a beautiful key shift. Now let's key shift again, back to E major. Must be the high vibrations from the guitar shaking the trees. I think it's probably the first one. A mixture of something else maybe in the first one. From what we know about trees, facts is they are energetic beings. Like they have energetic bodies in them, and they respond to everything. They respond to music. Plants respond to music. They respond to the vibrations of our body, of our energy. So it's a very strong chance that they're very, very happy, happy to hear music and hear good energy from humans. I can only imagine. I don't know. I'm just conceptualizing, but plants. Again, I had many plants. Unfortunately, they passed away, as plants do. But I had like this beautiful, what's it called? Porthos, Queen Porthos. It's like a beautiful big plant. Had like all these whites and trippy colors. But I'd play to it a lot. Like I'd play guitar and write music because it was in my studio. And yeah, plants respond to music. They respond to everything. They respond to like things you dance, the words you say. They're very receptive. Like they're very, very receptive, especially to creative energy. Right. I think we'll make our way, musketeers. Right. Must be nice to be beautiful. Wow. I guess so. I guess so. All I know is that at a young age, I inherently, through my own, you know, I'd say insecurities and lack of self worth as a kid, as a teenager, that kind of just, evolved or developed in a sense. I kind of discarded the idea of putting an importance on materialistic looks. I mean, sure, as a full grown adult, part of self love is honoring your looks and your genetics. And I got to thank my ancestors for my genetics. But yeah, focusing on material looks is nothing but a void. It's nothing but a broken, almost like a vacuum or like a black hole, if you will. To fixate on material looks, like to be like, but material looks. And, I mean, it's great to love yourself. Whoa, there's a massive butterfly there. But it's almost like, there's no greater delusion than to try to fixate on the material world. And, focusing on material looks, it's, I don't know. I appreciate beauty in all its expressions. I appreciate beautiful, gorgeous women and their aesthetics. But yeah, I don't know. For many, many, many years, I actually just didn't even remotely give a shit about material looks, like my own material looks. But that being said, I love myself, so part of loving myself is loving it all. Like I love all the material elements that make me me, the choices that have unraveled. But in truth, most of the qualities and characteristics that make me beautiful, you know, to myself, like in the deepest sense of my self love, has nothing to do with my looks. Like truthfully, it's like, when I look at what I value, I mean, I do love my looks. I love, it's fun. There's lots of memes about, people mogging other people and having like jawlines. That stuff I've literally just recently been like, wow, that's kind of hilarious that people take that to such extremes. But I don't know. I value character. I value integrity. I value discipline, perseverance, things that people could have all the beautiful looks in the world and could be so far removed. And the sad reality is a lot of people, not all people, but a lot of people that are praised for the material looks don't have those fundamental traits instilled, at least not to a deep degree. Things like values, like discipline, like hard work, perseverance, things like a depth of character, like depth of integrity. And sure, again, there's exceptions. I can kind of consider myself an exception, but it's a sad world we live in where I'm a performance artist. I work in the film industry. I work around, many different people that are often, I've worked with many models, I've dated models, I've connected with people of all sorts where it's a sad reality that you can get praised and validated so heavily for your looks and not really honor, maybe even ever, the deeper dimensions of what actually makes you like a fully developed, beautiful human being, which has nothing to do with the material. Food for thought, though. I am blessed genetically, but that doesn't, yeah. Anyway, just a food for thought. Could go with look into my eyes from the Hoobastank. Hoobastank is awesome. I gotta say, you got great taste in music, but I have no idea how to perform that. All I can say is, long story short, doesn't matter how you look. If you can play guitar, if you can play guitar mega good, mega dope, you have my respect. Like, you have my respect universally. And, you've done something that most people will never do. So, long story short, just pick up your guitar and validate yourself or, transcend the material world. I have a message deleted. I don't think so. Nah, I don't think I saw. I don't think I saw the message. Yeah. I did have a message deleted. Yeah, no, I don't think I didn't delete anything. I didn't see any message that got redacted or retracted. Your plant pothos. No, yeah, there's a Porthos. Queen Marble Porthos. Porthos. Pothos. I don't know. Yeah, it's Porthos. I think it's that. It's a beautiful plant. Queen Marble. I think I gotta head back to my house because there's an Amazon picking up a return package. I think I gotta set up. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but I should probably get that in action. Because I could spend the next few hours chilling in the forest. But we gotta get to the beach. Gotta get to Kitsilano. Or else, can't get to the beach by itself. Hello. I care how I look from Heath Health. Oh, yes. Yeah. Again, weirdly enough, without getting too deep down that rabbit hole. Whoa. Because I could go deep. I could go deep about, and I probably will one day in long format or this and that. But embracing your imperfections is really important. Like, learning to, like, see through the desire to, almost fixate on materialism or material looks. It's a weird paradox. And yeah, in truth, yeah, health, brain health, overall health and quality of life and, empathy and self-esteem and dimensions of character, integrity, etc. Those are things that truthfully are much deeper, much more important than simply looks. And it's a weird paradox that we live in this world where, if a person, again, I don't know all the people in the world, I don't have all the examples of, there's exceptions everywhere, but a lot of people that I've met that are like praised or validated like crazy for their material looks, they unfortunately are robbed, or like their whole psychology is warped to a sense where they don't actually develop deeply important, ingrained traits, things like perseverance and discipline. Now, there's many reasons for that. There's many reasons that far supersede just their looks, but, I noticed that when society validates certain elements of you, it demotivates you. It motivates you to, lean into those things that you get praised for and etc. Maybe make money for, like models do, or, really high tier actors do. actors are a little bit of a different phenomena, but like, yeah, it's a weird world. It's a weird world we're in, and I'd love to believe people see through that, but long story short, if a person's getting praised left, right, and center and validated heavily for their looks and all this and that and material things that don't actually have a depth, it robs them of a fundamental process that you can only experience through seeing through that illusion, through, maybe insecurity, maybe through strife, maybe through, all these human emotions that you experience that shapes your character, that desires you to be like, is there something deeper that you desire to develop that has nothing to do with your material looks? And it's very important and it's very powerful once you unpackage that. But anyways, that's a story for another day. Let's get ourselves on the road and go back to the studio. Yeah, but it's funny, like I've seen this parallel. Weirdly enough, there's content creators that I've followed that talk about this a lot, about like, they had some sort of like powerful transition in their life where, maybe they were really insecure for a lot of their life, where they were like, were really unhealthy, had bad skin health, had bad health on every metric you can imagine. And then at some point in their life, they really focused on developing their health, their mental health, their physical health, everything. They really honored their health. And it changed their entire perspective. And what occurred was the depth of character and development of who they were, when they were insecure and dealing with all these mental health struggles, shaped them to be a very full-fledged character. This actually is manifested in some of the most interesting human beings you can imagine. Like I know, Matt Rife, he's an interesting example of that. He's a very different kind of character, but Matt Rife is a perfect example where for so many years, Matt Rife was like profoundly insecure. Before he hit puberty, he had also really bad teeth genetically, and and he learned comedy as a defense mechanism. He learned to have like a depth of character and integrity because he personally, dealt with a lot of shit. He was from a small town, a lot of people just told me couldn't do this and that, and Matt Rife basically matured, developed his comedy, became proficient, succeeded, and then he also, grew into the traits that he embraced, and he loved himself a lot. And then now you see Matt Rife, and he's one of the most like interesting, well-rounded people that came from that exact sort of parallel. He's a dude that's materialistically praised for his looks, but he realizes that those looks, were not something he could really fixate on or depend on for most of his life. It was like he just genuinely was deeply insecure and had to learn how to actually be, an integral human being and develop with a passion his craft, which was comedy. And then now full circle, he's a full-grown adult, and yeah, he's thriving and doing this and that, but his core foundation of who he is and what made him himself in a healthy, balanced way is still prevalent. And it resonates a lot with me because I basically have the exact same story. I mean, in a very different way, but I'm just like, it's powerful. It's very powerful. Oh, all these sticks and trenches. I could destroy my pants, as they already have a little bit. Sound. Very nice. How's the Ireland? Welcome back, Billy. Welcome back, my dog. And yes, sending light back, brother. Ireland. The Irish, man. What an interesting type. What an interesting domain of humans. I mean, I know so little about the Irish. Like, there's actually a really interesting Irish community in a part that I'm going to later today at Kitsilano in Vancouver. But I see a lot of content creators who just go to Ireland. Like some of my favorite creators just randomly like, hey, let's go to Ireland and drink and do shenanigans. And man, aside from the alcohol, not really my thing. I love the culture of the Irish. It really just seems like a very interesting culture. Now, maybe a lot of it has to do with, the alcohol ingrained culture. It's kind of like part of the celebratory, almost party culture. But even that aside, they just seem very, very comfortable with certain sort of beautiful parts of their culture and, you know, their beautiful land and this and that. I don't know. I don't know much about the Irish, but the little blips I've seen, I'm like, you know what? This is kind of cool. Seems appealing. And also, maybe, who knows? Like, I don't drink, like, basically at all. Like, I can appreciate a good beer, but I basically just don't drink. So, in truth, maybe being in Ireland or visiting Ireland won't be for me, but who knows? Man, though, I actually ran into a friend after I was at the beach last night. I was busing back home, and I ran into my one friend who I saw the other day, who I did moving jobs with. He actually subscribed to this channel. He might see this offline or whatever, but the idea is that I ran into my buddy that I met when I was doing moving gigs. I was like a mover for about 6 months. Crazy fun, but also very hard work. I did that like a year ago, or maybe 2 years ago now. And yeah, I ran into my buddy as he was exiting his jiu-jitsu class, and he was telling me all more about his experience going to Montreal. He visited Montreal, and he met his partner there in Montreal. She's a gem. I met her when I was at the beach and saw him. And yeah, he was telling me how he joined a band. That was, I guess, his coworkers were in a band, and he played keyboard and a lot of piano, so they're like, hey, join the band. And they actually had the dopest sound I've heard ever. He just showed me the band he was in when he just randomly went to Montreal, and I was just like, dude, this guy is painting such a beautiful picture of this city. And I've heard good things about Montreal, but I think I'm definitely putting it on my list now. I'm like, okay, like, we got Thailand up there, Japan, you know, Australia, definitely, but Montreal's definitely, like, I'm like, sounds like such a beautiful place. That'd be so fun to visit and do the traveling, content creation, nomad thing, without a shadow of a doubt. And Korea, but I don't know when that's gonna happen. But yeah, I was really happy to hear about my friend's endeavors in Montreal. I was like, dude, that is so cool to hear. So cool. And it sounds like it really served him well. Like, it really did. He had some beautiful, life-changing experiences there, which is very cool. I feel like I got to do some more with this chord right here. Guinness is full of iron. True, but I mean, lots of stuff is full of iron and truth. Like, yeah, there's a lot better ways to get iron, I would say. I want to find the chord that transitions from this. I think I need to go lower on the capo. Maybe not, maybe not. I don't know, I'll figure it out. I gotta transpose the chord that's in my mind. Whoa, it's, yeah, these guys. So I think these are the larks. The meadow larks, or whatever they're called. These little guys over here. They're everywhere here. No burning allowed. No burning allowed. Yeah, but this guy, I think these are the meadow larks. Yes. Great birds, they're everywhere. We got, of course, the big mountains, nice and clear fields. Look at this. Look at this fresh cut grass. These beautiful spiral patterns. That's some good grass. some beautiful grass for you. Just so fresh, well done, so aesthetic, so pleasing. Just fresh grass. What's good, Armol? Been to Ireland. Aye, my roots. Aye, yes. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be even more fun. If you have roots, where you're like, I'm Irish, and you go and visit Ireland, you'd be so welcome with open arms, I'm sure. Even if not, though, even if you're just Canadian and you're just chilling, they're just full of love. Especially if you're a musician, or you got a pan flute. Everyone's just like, yay, it's a pan flute, let's go. That's what I find. I mean, I see this over and over again. And it's so funny. I've spoken about this, pan flute is like a weird, like, culture bridge. It's a bridger of cultures and worlds where, Peruvian people, Japanese people, Asian people of all sorts, many different types. Romanians naturally just love because it's Romanian style. It's like there's so many different cultures that for whatever reason they're just like, hey, it's a pan flute. And even I'm sure it's just, people love music and instruments, but it's also the rare novelty of it being like, oh, even like I was coming home from the SkyTrain and this random dude, he just, commented, he's like, whoa, I've never heard those. He's like, what is that? That's like Yanni, right? And I was like, oh, Zamfir. Like Zamfir is the famous pan flutist. And he's like, yeah, Zamfir. And he's like, oh man, never heard one of those actually live or seen played live. And I was like really appreciative of that. I was like, I gotta really appreciate his enthusiasm for the pan flute. Such a funny moment, though. Such a funny moment. Just like gives me a fist bump. He's like, yeah, brother, just keep it up. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. Very bright. Can't see very much of the comments, but that's okay. I feel like I'm getting pretty good at playing guitar standing up and walking around. It used to be a thing that's kind of challenging, like in the most immediate sense. If I'm not like focused and locked in, it would kind of sound like shit. But now there's a little bit more of an understanding of how to do it. I mean, I still definitely play guitar better sitting down, and can do better compositions and everything, but I think there's something powerful about like learning to play guitar standing up. Like I've actually made videos about this, and I'll probably make more videos about this. But it's like, if you learn to play guitar standing up or walking around even, what a cool, amazing feature. To be able to just like rock out basically. Like you can play, but you can like dance or really get your body into it and enjoy it while walking around a forest or, a park or a city. It's just like, guitar, I feel like, is an instrument that's genuinely meant to be played mobile, like walking around, jumping, kicking. It's not really an instrument that's meant to be played universally just sitting down, doing nothing, like letting your whole body be still. Now, you can do that. I love doing that too sometimes, but I really feel like it's meant to be something that's supposed to be like you're jumping around and you're having fun and bobbing your head and throwing kicks and whatever, especially the electric guitar. Like that's what's been on my mind a lot lately is like, I really, really, really want to learn to get like really fluent, at rocking out in my Ibanez, and I might have to buy like a wireless cord to do this, but I just want to do such crazy shit where I'm just, playing the electric guitar and just shredding and rocking out, but then just like jumping around, jumping around and throwing kicks, maybe throwing punches, and I don't know, just throwing shit, just getting my body, rocking out like I'm on a stage, because why not, right? It's like you can do that. It's like the guitar is surely not meant to be something just stagnant. Sounds beautiful. Nice. All right. It is crazy warm to be wearing this coat. I love this coat, but damn. TV show called Dairy Girls. Huh. Right. For some reason, I think I've heard that before. Irish TV. I don't know if it's Irish, but you know, there's a show called what's it called? The IT Crew. No, IT Crowd. Something like that. IT Crowd. IT Crowd. It's like a British show. I think British or English, but it's one of those where it's like they have these thick accents and incredible comedic acting. It's a comedy show called IT Crowd or IT Crew. IT Crowd? I think it's IT Crowd. But either way, it's like insanely funny. Like genuinely one of the best comedies I've ever seen. And like my one friend was like raving about it for the longest time. Like he was just like telling me about the show, and I was like, man, yeah. I was like, let's check this out. And it's like so funny because it's literally just about these IT, you know, dudes. Like they work in tech, and they're just like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like they're just in such a weird, you know, reality where they work this job that they don't take seriously, you know, because they're like IT dudes. They just answer the phone and they just say like, literally all day long, they answer the phone and just say, did you turn it off? And then, or did you turn it off and then turn it on again? And they just like basically, that's like the majority of their job. It's kind of like a, you know, a pun, I guess, at what IT people do or tech people do. But it's like, then they just make all these weird jokes and act really socially awkward. It's hilarious. Yeah. All right. Hopefully we made it in time for our Amazon pickup. Let's see. Are my phone giving me more notifications? I don't think so. I think we made it. Okay. Huh. Your car read 100. Right. Huh. Okay, let's sort our return quickly. Just gotta quickly grab something. I should just do this. Okay, what was it? Right. There we have it. All right. 1 second. Classic British. Yeah, they're pretty weird. They're pretty weird. crazy warm out there. It's great though. It's legendary. Oh. Man. Existence. There's my guitar. What is existence? These tuning forks are crazy, I find. They're not tuning forks that are meant to be heard, but they have a slight audible sound. But these are actually ones you whack, and they have a felt vibration. This one's like the biofield, and this one's low ohm. It's like supposed to align with the nervous system. Like this one's the nervous system, firing activity, and cat purr. And then the biofield is 111. So I think it's divine frequency of some sort. But it's meant to be felt, not heard. It's weird. It's very weird. Great sounds though. Magic. I think we're going to do a brief shred. I've been recently playing around a lot with random kind of shreddy riffs on my Ibanez. Really just leaning into some weird, like punk rock, expressive vocals that accent these sort of shreddy riffs. But what a time to be alive, that you can just, you know, shred and play. You know, it's like punk rock is a weird thing. I mean, my roots of music is punk rock. Like for me as like 11, 12-year-old, that's all I really wanted to do. It was not like I was playing acoustic guitar, you know, the way I do now, which I love. Like I deeply love, and I almost, in the strangest sense, find playing acoustic guitar or playing electric guitar is actually very limiting compared to, you know, the great depth of what you can access on a acoustic guitar. But man, in all truth, there's just the sound of the Ibanez is just so beautiful. I don't know if you guys are, you know, familiar with the sounds of electric guitars. But the tonality of this Ibanez, yeah, the tonality of the Ibanez is just such a strong, strong sound. squealies though, or my harmonics that are bent, could use some work. Truthfully, that's always the thing I think it's very gentle. That's probably where I want it. Just like if they're not done very cleanly and executed perfectly, they have a lot of buzz and sort of ring out a lot. And not the good kind of ring out. Yeah, my technique's a little bit rough. Well, a little bit sloppy. It's just like the amount of, like, the way I'm very precise with my acoustic guitar. I'm looking forward to applying that level of precision with the electric. Eventually when it gets there. I mean, I've been there, of course. Absolutely. Very nice. Enjoy your coaching session. Thank you for being here. I think we'll probably in the next 5 minutes put a close to it, because we did 2 hours before and we're now hitting the 1 hour mark. But it's been a very strong 3 hours, I must say. But I think we're gonna organize our time in the next 5-10 minutes and head down to Kitsilano. Maybe do some busking there. I don't know. See into the energy. Probably, but yeah. Thank you for being here, Psych Doc. See, that's what we want. That's what we want here. Yeah, I can't tell. I know my viewers, they're here mainly for silky, very soothing, meditative guitar. So it's kind of like a little bit of a gamble to be like, yeah, let's just shred out. This is kind of what I just do for me, in bursts. But yeah, I'm sure there's parts of my audience that definitely loves just rocking out. But yeah, gotta refine it. Irrational or delusional self-belief. Interesting. Sure. Not wrong, I would say. I mean, I hear you, dog. And I'm inclined to agree, where I feel like in many rites, the way that, if a lot of people, when they think of the spiritual journey, they really emphasize heavily on the ascension, the moving up into the higher dimensions, or learning to transcend the human experience and be in a higher expression or a higher vibration. But what that looks like in the actuality of how human beings show up and package that and integrate that authentically, is 100% going through and unpackaging, the deepest dimensions of self, the deepest dimensions of the egoic self, maybe the deluded, suppressed, demonized, 3D human emotions that, in many rites and extremes is going to be synonymous with, just basically going through, maybe falling back into trauma-based narratives, narratives that are rooted within lower vibrational emotions. And that's actually a part of the spiritual healing and integration process. Sure, maybe for some, if they have a very secure attachment style, or they live in a monastery type life or something, and they're deeply plunging in, it's a little more, I'd say, conventional. But I think for the majority of us, if not myself included massively, we do have to go through a process of unpackaging the very human beliefs and traits, maybe even the toxic traits, probably the toxic traits of ourself, the parts of ourself that we suppress and we demonize. We got to go through that process of unpackaging it. And I think that's very important. And the simplest right, it's embracing our shadow self. When you think about it, you gotta, to spiritually ascend, you gotta embrace the 3D. The 3D is all of it. It's your emotions on the complex spectrum of every aggression, anger, aggression rooted this or depressive that, or just all the dimensions of what makes you human. It's like you got to learn to honor it, not suppress it, not demonize it, not shame yourself, but honor it. And now, what that looks like when you're healing it, of course, when you're receiving love and support and healthy relationships and healthy community and healthy, nourishing practices, it becomes a lot easier where it's not becoming this like resistant, almost like battle. But no matter what, we're all just humans, right? We're imperfect, we're human beings in a 3D reality. We live in a society, we're a product of programming that we have to constantly unpackage. And I really think when you're on that authentic spiritual experience, you're integrating, your traumas and trying to integrate into a higher expression of yourself. Yeah, you gotta like really drag yourself through the mud of your psyche, and sometimes that's like really challenging. Finding those harmonics, man, is a jarring process. Oh wait, what's good? What's good, Cresso? I'm good, man. Yeah, we're coming off a 3 hour 3 hour extreme grind or stream binge. No, but yeah, we've been doing the last 3 hours doing some nice forest streams, lots of beautiful improv, kind of feeling into creating some music. Thank you for being here, Psych Doc. Appreciate your presence. Easy love or not a clue, brother. Not a clue, brother or sister. Yeah, I don't do covers here. I'm not a cover artist. I have zero desire to even begin to do covers. Yeah. There's a specific harmonic that makes it not sound like dog shit, but we'll get back to that. I'm just experimenting a bit here. All right. Yeah. All right. I think respectively, we are likely going to put a close to the stream right quick. We've hit the 1 hour mark and did 2 hours before that. Yeah, bro. The last 24 hours, actually, I've been writing a lot of like punk rock. I don't know how to describe it, like really untamed punk rock. That sounds really cool. So that's been fun. But yeah, very much. I think we're probably going to take this next little period and, exit the stream, put a close to the stream and work on some didgeridoo and probably some punk rock riffs off stream and get prepared to go to Kitsilano. Yeah, I've been saying we're probably going to go down to Kitsilano Beach, check out the vibe, see what's going on down there, and maybe do a busking session because we'll have all our gear. And we've been feeling really inspired. Like, you know what? Like, it's funny. I'm in this weird place where, in some respects, I'm less motivated than ever, or not even than ever, but I'm less motivated to go out and busk. But I'm more equipped than ever. Where it's almost like there's not much natural incentive. That's more the word. It's not motivating. There's a little bit of lack of motivation, but there's less incentive to go out and busk, like, just like freaking spend a couple hours and devote myself in the real world to shred and, play some beautiful silky riffs, which I feel like I would do very well in, you know? And I feel like, but that's the funny thing is I'm more equipped now more than ever, to perform, do busking in like my local sort of sub area or subculture area or suburban area. So I think part of me is like I'm wanting to slowly transition. It's also getting warmer, so the weather is actually comprehensive to it. I think I want to make that psychological shift. Be like, you know what? Even if I don't need money right now, I mean, who couldn't hurt to have a little bit of, extra money and to think that, people would give that to me through busking, which they do. It's like, it's great. But I don't need it like out of necessity. I'm like, oh damn, like I really could use this 20, 30, $40. It's like that's not the case like it was when I first started busking. But the reality is I'm more equipped now than ever because I've been doing live streaming constantly and I've been honing my performance, so I feel like I could really do some cool stuff. And I think I'm a slight shift away from being like, oh yeah, right, that's right. I can just set up my busking act anywhere at any given time. not even because I want money, but because I want to just perform. And and I think I'm just that psychological shift away. And it's very interesting because this is how it's always been. I don't know if you guys ever been, ever busked or entertained what it takes, but even if you're a busker and you're like a performer and you're like, okay, I can do this, there's often, at least when you're newer or like intermediate, there's a mentality where your brain has to almost like give yourself full permission to sort of like shift into the idea of being, oh yeah, I'm in performance mode. Here's a place where I can go busk. I can go set up here. I can slip into a performance. So it's almost like you have to give yourself full permission to realize that, oh, wait a second, everywhere is a stage, everywhere is an audience, and you're giving yourself permission to do that from a place of like deep rooted intention. And it's weird because again, I'm pretty new to busking. I'm doing it like a year and a half now, but it's like the idea of like you basically have to switch it on. It's almost like if you're like Uber Eats or something. If you worked at Uber Eats, you got to switch on the app, and then suddenly your brain's like, oh, I see all these opportunities to make money or whatever. Which I mean, I've never done Uber Eats, but like, well, I did for a short period, but not very much committed. But I think it's like, yeah, busking is the same, where your brain has to almost like you have to switch that flip that switch and be like, oh shit, like I'm gonna start looking around and entertaining that I could actually go tangibly set up my busking act and start shredding and playing, and people would be tipping you and you'd be receiving that beautiful interaction with the audience. And it's like, yeah, so I'm interested in seeing how I can organically feel those waters again. Fine, plant those seeds of inspiration, like, because technically, again, I don't need to busk now that I'm a full-time YouTuber and I'm devoting myself to being like, you know what, I can virtually make money just from ad revenue, and I can make money in this and that the other way. It feels like it's not a necessity, but it's also something that I think is really beautiful and comprehensive. So it's exciting. It's a whole new perspective and chapter, a whole new intention, and how I can go about busking. So very exciting. Yeah, don't know how to perform Slayer, not a cover artist. Don't want to get demonetized. Yeah. With that, a concluding thought is, I'm kind of confused. I know there's I mean, this is just me thinking aloud for the two people that are here, or the offline viewers. I find it bizarre how, I thought this early on when I was very new to YouTube. I find it really bizarre the cover culture. I mean, it's a stigma that sits way outside of, musicians. I think in the modern world really really struggle with basically that divide between them focusing on their original music, learning to compose, improvise, basically develop as a musician, and then the societal pressure for them to just do covers and then be praised for it and make money, just mindlessly through doing covers and focusing covers. And I think it's interesting, but also bizarre how that leaks into YouTube. How everyone thinks that, yes, please play a cover. Hey, I got a song, please play this. Hey, request that, request that. You do realize 90% of the time, you requesting a cover, if that person went, oh yeah, I got you, brother, and they rock it out, they could lose their monetization rights like that. Like they could get copyright stricken, lose monetization, just because they're trying to, do that interaction. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Again, I'm new to this paradigm. I'm sure there's ways to work around it. Again, you could just demonetize your stream, and I'm sure that's a good workaround. Maybe you'll still get copyrighted, but I just think it's a bizarre thing that people even have that normalized feeling that they're like, oh, but please play the song, even if it's gonna risk your channel's monetization. That blows my mind. I'm not a cover artist by any means, and lots of respect to people that find inspiration in them, but I think it's a weird parallel that people don't realize that what they're requesting, like, hey, please play a song, risk your copyright and monetization rights, but just play the song, please. It's just like, that's a weird. I mean, I get it if you're demonetized and you're not making money off this and you want to, lean into that niche, then by all means. But I think that's a very bizarre dynamic that people don't realize what exactly they're sort of trying to feed. But yeah. Oh wow. Never experienced that, Kusha. I mean, not to laugh at that, but like, I mean, I think it's a bizarre twist. But like, if you want my honest advice, I've never in my life actually had all my partners, I've created a very healthy, very comprehensive dynamic. I don't date partners that would even remotely have that wound. And that sucks to hear about that, brother. But I would say is that person's not worth your time, not worth your energy. Um, yeah, like that's it. Healthy boundary 101. Plant a boundary. They're not worth your time, energy, mental space, physically, emotionally. Cut that person off. Don't think about it twice, brother. You're worth better than that. You deserve better. You deserve that. Even if you don't realize that, you deserve way better. And yeah, that sucks. I've never experienced that in my life. Truthfully, my partners and I really revere the romantic container. And even if when I was younger and dating and figuring this out when I was like 15, 16, I would never entertain partners even for a second that would try to be like very, gossipy, manipulative, and this and that. It's just, I don't know. You got to know your worth, brother. You got to like set that foundation. But anyways, hey, what's good, Keys Master? I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah, lots of beach time, lots of good streams, um, lots of love in my life, lots of recalibration and focusing on crystallizing my vision as a YouTuber. Cash in some YouTube paychecks for the first time. I mean, I can't officially cash them or make a payout until I get to $100. So that's my next goal. Is like I want in the next week or so get to the $100 payout, because I make like nothing right now. Like I make like maybe $5-10 a stream from ad revenue, and I don't even know surely what that is, but it's like if I can double or triple that, and then like normalize making streams that are comprehensive and getting good ad revenue and get a sponsor, then I'd be in a good place. But yeah, nah. I mean, we're doing this. We're doing stuff. We're living life, bro. How about yourself? Hey, thank you, zombie. Thank you, zombie. Actually, I gotta drink some water before I play that didgeridoo. But yeah. In. Nice. That's tight, man. Yeah, as we are, because we're an hour and 10 minutes in this one. We actually did a 2-hour stream that we exited because it was demonetized. That is, I didn't flip on the monetization switch. So I was like, you know what? We're gonna exit this and re-enter it. So we're probably gonna put an end to the stream right quick. We're gonna go to Kitsilano Beach. Probably doing some busking, feel out busking spots, chill on the beach. Maybe do a stream out that way. But yeah, it's too beautiful of a day to sit inside and stream all day. Not that I would do that anyways. It's not anymore because I don't need to. To get watch hours. Really, really feeling the key of B though lately. Like that is the 7th capo. The key of B, open B, so beautiful. Massive, massive fan of that. Yeah. All right, yes. I think with this, we'll do our outro here. Appreciate you guys chiming in and the support. Ask the song requests because they're familiar with the sound, the effect, and their emotion. Yeah. Yeah. They don't know how to answer on their own emotion hunger. Yeah? Well, that's the thing. Sure, it's like on a deep level. I'm just saying, like, you're correct, absolutely. Where people, to some degree, like, I don't think people are on YouTube when they're just like throwing a song request. Yeah, maybe they. I honestly would love to. I get it. I get the interaction in the relationship. I go to open mics all the time. It's basically that's the open mic dynamic, right? You go to open mics, you hear an artist play a song you really love, and you're like, holy shit, that's so beautiful. And you connect and appreciate the artist even more, and you appreciate the person doing the art, and it's beautiful. It's like you get to hear a person being vulnerable and pour their heart out through a song that you get, that you understand and resonate with. But yeah, I was just addressing how bizarre it is that people don't realize in real time, monetized YouTubers, they're basically risking copyright strikes, more or less, and demonetization with that if they were to fulfill majority of people's request. Like someone's like, hey, I hear you, brother, I'll play this cover song. They could get copyright stricken just for that simple random act of like, of an interaction. And again, it's not that, that's it is what it is, but I think it's bizarre that people even normalize that. Like if a person were like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and just like work on a bunch of covers and I love playing covers, and then YouTube just slaps them with a copyright, warning or maybe eventually a strike or just immediately demonetizes them. Is like that's like not worth it, like at even remotely. You know, even if a person tips them or gives them that, and again, maybe there's a smart way to do it. I know there's a smart way to do it, but for me, I think it's almost like a bizarre thing that people, yeah, don't realize that they're like basically trying to, put out the intention to jeopardize a person's channel and monetization if they're monetized. If they're not, then it is what it is. Like that's part of the thing. Is like for me, even when I even entertained doing things like teaching people riffs that were copyrightable, or playing movie scores and playing over them that were copyrightable. I only did that when I had like 0 subscribers. I only did that when I was like, I have zero ability to even remotely be copyright stricken or lean into monetization. But once you have any what of a following, it's like you're at such immediate risk to get copyright stricken and demonetized. And so people to even be like, hey, play this song, or like, can you play this song? It's like 0% chance, like 0%. I'm gonna like risk the monetization rights of my channel and get copyright stricken, potentially just for the sake of requests. Like it's a bizarre thing, and it's not me, stressing about it too much. But I think that's a very bizarre thing for people to normalize. Yeah, yeah. Well, it is what it is. It is what it is. Again, people, I don't think it's malicious. People are just like, yeah, I want to hear a song, and they don't realize the ins and outs of YouTube and monetization and copyrights and whatever. For me, I've never been a cover artist. I played covers for like 5, 6 years when I was like 12 years old, from age 12 or 10 to like 15, 16. I was like, yeah, let's learn some covers. Let's, learn how to play the guitar. But eventually, once you learn how to write your own music and, improvise and do real stuff, eventually you kind of just leave that behind you more or less. I mean, you'll do it a little bit, but it's like, but anyway, food for thought. It's an interesting thing. I'm just kind of shed some light or some awareness on that sort of parallel. But who knows? Like again, just to put a little summary before I exit the stream is like I agree is like there is like the thing that I find intriguing, like just in real time that I love to talk about in a healthy way, just to shed some perspective is I really don't think again, this isn't a malicious thing or throwing salt at those that, just don't have that perspective, but I really don't think people necessarily understand how much of a weird stigma there is on cover music. Like they don't even realize that like there's a lot of musicians, full-grown adults, musicians, professional musicians that are like struggling. They're probably suffering and even just, they're struggling to a detriment greatly because they've had society literally program them heavily that, oh, but you should be a cover artist. Oh no, but you're not going to make money making originals. You're not going to make money focusing originals and learning to songwrite more or do improv or do what you actually want to do. It's like, no, but the money is in cover artists. Like the money is in learning a catalog of 30 songs and playing at open mics and playing at shipyards. The money is in doing cover gigs. It's like there's a lot of musicians. I'm fortunately not in that category, but there's a lot of musicians that struggle with that. And like, sure, for every, thousands or hundreds, thousands or 10,000s of musicians that are in that category, there's maybe the odd like exception of like a few hundred that don't fit that category. Like they're brilliant, genius musicians who are able to make original interpretations of cover music and blow up and do really well with that. But most musicians, they're like pressured and boxed into this weird ass place. And I know for a fact why, because I've been a musician for, 16 and a half, coming 17 years. And for the first like 7 years of my musician path, I was in that place where I was like, oh yeah, cover art, cover this song, cover that song. And, I'm learning, I'm picking up all these different styles, but you get to this place where you could literally be programmed by society to basically do the unoriginal thing and make money and never actually develop your own style. And society will literally reinforce and benefit or reward you for that. And that sucks. Like basically there's a stigma that is rewarding people for not doing original stuff whatsoever. It's almost like in the opposite flip, it's in some weird way, shaming or almost like judging or painting a negative stigma on people who are doing original music. I'm fortunate that I can do my own original stuff and thrive. I'm fortunate I have a novel style that I've been developing for like 11 years. But there's a lot of musicians that like the moment they're like, oh, I'm gonna do something fresh and original and new and try to make my own style, they're gonna get hit with waves of like negative, stigmatization of like, oh no, but you're doing this cover thing, but we want to hear this cover thing, or but we'll pay you for this cover thing. And they're getting this bullshit reinforced, programming that, yes, covers, you got to play other people's music, you got to play the hits over and over and over again. Your original expression is worthless. And that's the psychology that I'm kind of unpackaged that I want to sort of convey is I'm fortunate that I don't struggle with that. I've been writing original music for like 7, 8 years and really happy with my own progress. But I think there's a very strange stigma that when people are like fixating on covers and they're not even just giving original musicians a chance, they're feeding into that stigmatization. They're feeding into that narrative. Like they're reinforcing the cultural programming that makes musicians worse off and is perpetuating, getting a benefit to play cover music and unoriginal music just because they would need to make money. Because, society's like, oh, but you got to make money. This is what your worth is, and blah blah blah. Anyways, that was a whole lot of stuff. No, it's all good, dog. That's me, low key. I think some of that was just me, riffing. I'm just riffing my 2 cents. Hopefully, I'm wrong. You know what? Hopefully, all that, the stigma is not as serious as I'm talking about. It probably is actually worse. But, I mean, I'm sure Moonstars. Everyone wants to hear everyone sing. Like, let's be real here. My heart is captured fully when I hear a gorgeous woman sing her heart out. And of course, I'm sure in the opposite, if you're the opposite sex and you see the opposite thing going on, when you hear a human being sing their heart out, it is always going to be universally beautiful. But what I'm saying is, beyond that, the sad reality is we live in a society that has a music industry super broken. The music industry is a pretty messed up place. And all I'm speaking to is, as much as everyone wants to hear, beautiful human beings sing their heart out, there's a lot of weird corporations and, soulless, money grubbing corporations that are basically going to suck the soul out of that to a point where they're never going to even want to sing again because, they're getting all these weird agendas and weird distortions of their own art being placed around. And again, I'm not speaking from experience, I'm just riffing. I'm just, I'd love to believe that these preconceptions are a little bit off base. Maybe we do live in a little, uh, sunshine and rainbows music industry, but in truth, it's kind of sucks. Anyway, c'est la vie. Dessert for thought. Yum. Yes, dessert for thought. Someone came on my test session a card game and asking if we could play Monopoly. Nice. Interesting. Well, that's kind of wholesome as ever. At least they want to play some, I don't know. They want to play with you. I wonder, just as a concluding sort of thought, truly, because I probably got to bounce. I wonder if you could get copyrighted for playing I probably you would get copyrighted for like, all right, let's play Monopoly, friends, and then you're just like, in your card game channel, and they're just like, boom, it gets slapped with a copyright strike because they're just like, nah, Monopoly is a copyright infringement, which would be weird, but I could see that happening. I could see that happening. Yeah. Yes. I don't know. All I can say is it's a fun learning experience. The ins and outs of copyright infringements. Oh, wow. Hey, thank you, Hunter. I appreciate that, brother. Do you have a favorite drum beat? Honestly, not. I don't have a favorite drum beat. Thank you. I appreciate you seeing the patterns and seeing. I mean, I don't know if you're referring to the cover versus original artistry, but yeah, I really appreciate that, brother. Like, I appreciate you acknowledging or just resonating with that and sharing that. Deeply appreciate the support. Heck yeah, heart there. But it is what it is. Like, I feel like, I just wanted to speak some truth about what I was feeling. It's interesting, just a thought and observation about, you know, the sort of music industry in such a way. But that being said, what I'm really trying to circulate, I mean, I love making this a very beautiful human experience, philosophizing and talking about what's real in my world and holding space for the community. But it's also like, I think part of what I've been realizing as a YouTuber is I really desire to focus as much as I humanly can, just focusing on the music. And it's not about just me like engaging or not engaging or making music or not making music. I just think in the greater totality of my channel, a lot of what my community benefits from, that is the YouTube community that I'm building, they benefit from holding space for their presence. Via if I'm playing music, if I'm playing guitar, they benefit more so. I mean, surely they'll benefit sometimes from having a nice dialogue or monologue, but majority of the time, I really feel it's a very high calling to just share space, play some music, play some original music, play some improvised music, and then just share that dimension. Bless. Thank you, Shiv Jam. Blessings from Canada, my friend. Well, amazing. Thank you so much, Hunter. I appreciate that, brother. I mean, alas, this is the end of the stream because we did like a 2-hour stream earlier, so we're pushing the 2.5 or 3.5 hour mark, which is great. But that being said, yeah, I feel like we're gonna basically put a close to the stream. I'll do a little outro, and we'll go to the beach and probably do a stream later and feel out doing some busking sessions in the next hour or so, or hour or two. But yeah, with that, thank you so much for being here. Deeply appreciate the support. And yeah, if you feel resonant with this content, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Basically, I teach guitar, I do meditative sound journeys, I release original music and do various kind of YouTuber stuff. And very much, yeah, I love this channel. I love this community, and I really am excited to continuously grow this. So thank you so much for being here, and remember to honor yourself and to honor each other. And much love. Bless. Ashe. Thank you.